Hey everybody, this is Greg Gossett from Gossett Trading and Mentoring Live, and today is Tuesday, October 6, 2020. We are again in the final hour of the trading day, my favorite time to make my buying and selling decisions. For my swing trades, I prefer the end of day in the last hour, and in particular, the last few minutes, because that's when the large financial institutions really start waking up, making their moves. They take the price control away from the day traders and the algorithms. Well, what a day. Everything was nice and green and lovely, and then there was some news out of the White House and everything hit the fan. This was just a little while ago. My gosh. All right, the Dow is down 285 points, down 1%. The NASDAQ is down 130 points, down 1.15, and the S&P is down 3471. Everything was green, but then there was some news about the stimulus that came out of the White House, and the markets just tanked. Boy. Wow. I'm still a little bit in shock. So thank you all for coming today. I really appreciate it. I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you coming, spending your time here, investing your time. I hope it's paying off for you. Here is the plan for today. First, we're going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer. Secondly, we're going to come back. We're going to take a look at my current positions, talk about when I bought them, why I bought them, how I'm going to manage them going forward. I've also had some day trades that I'm going to be sharing with you. After that, we're going to go down through the board and we're going to take a look at your positions, see how those are doing. Boy, everything was doing really well up until a minute ago, unfortunately. After that, we're going to switch gears, talk about trading psychology. Trading psychology is probably an important discussion today about keeping your emotions in check, not doing anything unwise when you get punched in the face, because we just got punched in the face. But listen, this is the time when something like this happens. The difference between a professional trader and an amateur trader is how one conducts themselves based upon this. After that, I've gone down through my watch list. I've gone down through the results of Kamal's scanner, and we are going to go through those and look for an end-of-day trade. I have 3 requirements before I enter any trade. First requirement, look for a combination or confluence of signals. Secondly, you have to have a good risk to reward ratio, at least 2 to 1. If I'm risking $100 on the downside, I want to be able to make at least 200 or more to the upside. And number 3, today's a good example of this. Don't be too highly correlated in any one sector or have too much account heat. Trade some different things, some uncorrelated positions. I thankfully was trading the VIX before this happened, and I had a fantastic day trade on that. But when I was looking at it, I was like, I'm heavy in equities here. I want to go outside of something, and there was a setup, and of course we didn't know we were going to have the announcement here, but boy, oh boy. Okay, so I'm going to go down through, see if there's anything that looks good at the end of the day. If there is, I will place the trade before the close. After the close, if anybody has any questions, please let me know. If you need clarification on anything, please let me know. I'm happy to answer them. If you have any stock symbols that you would like me to look at before the close of the day, please put them in the chat. I'll do my very, very best to get to them. Put an asterisk or emoji by them so I know it's time sensitive. And then lastly, if you have any new positions today, any new entries or exits, if you could be so kind to wait until the close of the day after the market's closed. So I'm done trading, pressure's off, done teaching, all that kind of stuff. And then I will get them all updated on the board. Okay, so that is the plan. Sorry about today with this unexpected news, but that is part of trading. So hold tight. I'm going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer, and I'll be back in about 40 seconds. Thanks. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Please carefully read and/or listen to the U.S. government required disclaimer before watching this video or live stream broadcast. The video link and disclaimer text are located in the description section of this video or live broadcast, here and here. Thank you so much. All right, well, this changes the equation in a big way, doesn't it? Let's take a look. Hey, Steve Burns, good to see you, my friend. Appreciate you being here. I always do. I really mean that. I know everyone else is excited and feels blessed to have you here, so thank you, Steve. Steve says stocks turn negative after Trump says House is going to stop negotiating stimulus until after the election. Yep, that's what I'm gleaning from this. Brian is here. Hey, Brian. Good to see you, bud. Dan, peace sign. Good to see you. Evan, good afternoon. Hi, Evan. Gary M. Hi, Greg and group. Good to see you, Gary. Andrea's here. Hey, Andrea. Hey, all Trump just dumped the market. Hey, all Trump just dumped the market. Yes, with that announcement for sure. So good to see you, Andrea. Steve says the VIX still can't break the 200-day moving average. It's getting closer, though, isn't it? It's getting closer. Miko's here. Hey, Greg and all. Hey, Miko, good to see you. Frank says, hello, Greg and group. Hey, Frank, good to see you. Steve says, bearish engulfing candle on DDM is ugly. Yep, the landscape of how everything looked just changed dramatically. I'm sure I'll be getting out a bunch of stuff today. Tracy is here. Hey, Tracy, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. If Paxton's there, please give him my best. Well, should we do it? Should we get going? Should we take a look and see what's happening, as ugly as that's going to be? All right, let's do it. And David's here. Hey, David, good to see you, bud. Hope you're doing well. Okay, well, shoot. All right, well, Gary and Johan and I did have Delta Airlines. We bought it approximately 31.81. This nice bullish engulfing bar crossover. Hit a profit target yesterday. Hit one today. This is a perfect example, everybody. Of course, this doesn't happen every day, but I'm very grateful that I did take some of my position off here right near the high. This is going to end up most likely being a losing trade, but taking those profit targets when I have them, it's kind of nice to take those chips off the table, put them in your pocket, because not only did you lock in that percentage at a gain, but you also mitigates the loss on the way down here. Very likely I'll get out of this today. It's right about where I would consider staying in. It's holding the 50 RSI. It's holding halfway of this bar. But that's unfortunate. This was up nicely today, but we'll just have to see what happens. Goldman Sachs, Steve and I did take Goldman Sachs at 199.94 approximately with a 520 crossover. Had a profit target yesterday. Also, again, had another profit target today, which of course in hindsight I am very, very grateful for. 520 cross is still in place. It is still holding the 50 RSI, and it is still holding the 50 the 200-day moving average, and it is currently still holding the 50 RSI, and it's still above the 5 and the 20. So I'm going to have to make an end of game decision on this one. I may hold it. I'm not 100% sure, but right here, right now, the cross is still in place. It did bounce off the 200-day. It is still above the 50 RSI. NBIX, Kamal and Yas and I bought that yesterday at 98.15. Went up today, got close to a profit target, you can see, but it didn't quite get there. Big V1 to the downside. You know, with this kind of market, this one gives me the least amount of reason to stay in it. I'll probably get rid of this one. The Qs. Okay. Let's see. I know somebody else is in this. Oh. Gary M. and Johan and I. We bought at 278.68 with the 520 crossover. Went up, hit a profit target. Next day came down, closed below both the 5 and the 20. When this happens, I get out of half of my position. Bearish engulfing bar to the downside here. I only have half the position left. I'll probably keep this because the 5 is still above the 20. I'll probably keep this because the 5 is still above the 20. But again, very grateful that I hit profit targets when I did and took, I can't give you a better example of the reason why I like to take profit targets. Give me one sec if you don't mind. I have to do an adjustment over in this other account that I manage. All right. Sprouts Fresh Market. Frank and I bought Sprouts Fresh Market yesterday, 21.32. Did start off the day nicely. Again, I hit another profit target, which, I'm really glad because I locked in some profits up there and it mitigates the loss to the downside. My end of day stop on this was a close below the 200-day moving average, and right now it looks like it is going to be closing under the 200-day moving average. So I am most likely to get out of that. SPY. Well, this was nothing to write home about earlier in the day, but now, so listen, I do buy the SPY every day at the close. I hold it overnight. I take the overnight risk. I sell it first thing the next morning. This is based upon the long-term backtest study from Liz Ann Saunders. She's at Bespoke Invest on Twitter. Since 1993, tested two approaches. Buy SPY at the open, hold it through the day, sell at the close. This approach returned a negative 13.9% return if you did it every day since 1993. The opposite approach, when I use buy the SPY at the close, hold it overnight, take the overnight risk, sell it first thing the next morning. This gained positive 634.2. So positive 634.2 compared to a negative 13.9. Big difference. Doesn't mean it's going to work in the future. Past performance is no guarantee of future results, but if I'm going to take a trade and put money towards something, it's going to be something that has good back-tested results. Blue line, buy the close, sell the next morning. Orange line, buy the morning, sell the same day close. You can see it's not even close, but if you're going to consider using this approach, over time it does well, but it does have significant drawdown, so keep that in mind. My suggestion, use a very small position size, like 5% of your position size. That's not your total risk. That is the total amount in dollars that you're buying. So if you had like $100,000, 5% would be $5,000, and you would buy $5,000 of SPY at the close, sell it the next morning, rinse and repeat. But this is a wild one using this approach. Okay, that being said, boy, this was so close that I got in yesterday at 339.76 and I sold for a profit at 339.87. Not a big one, 11 cents, but of course, in hindsight, I am very glad that I sold the open, right? Okay, so that is that. Now, also over to my other SPY trade. Dan, Steve, Brian, and I did buy the SPY with the 1050 EMA crossover, bought it at 332.82. Just missed one profit target up there. Look at that. 342.22, and it got as high as 342.17. Ugh, so close. 5 cents and I would have locked some more profit in there, but the 10 is still above the 50. It's a bearish engulfing bar to the downside, but the trade is still positive. I have phased out up at these higher levels, which again is a good example of why I do phase out. Chewy, Quad, and I bought Chewy, this nice fractal breakout. Moving average crossover at 58.92. just went down ever since we bought it. It did get right back up to break even today, but of course sold off with the rest. Yeah, this has been a little bit of a dog. I'm probably going to consider selling this today. You see we have the big bar up. Right now we're a little bit below halfway of the big move up. I'll just have to see. I mean, it's been a wild one. Things could change a lot before the end of the day, but my gut here is to get rid of Chewy. Walmart, Brian, Gary, and I bought Walmart at 140.69 with the fractal breakout. With the fractal breakout, bought it at 140.69. Went up nicely the next day. Again, took some profits. Yesterday took some profits. Today didn't quite. This is a tough one. This is a really tough one. I'm a bit inclined to keep this one. All right, Apple. Now, this is going to be a whole cluster. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the day trades first so I can clean this up a little bit. Apologize, everybody. Whoa. I trade Apple so much that it muddies up the charts. Okay, I bought my first Apple trade earlier today. We went under 30, over 30 in a V1. I bought it at 113.78. Moved up beautifully, nicely, rejected the 50-day moving average. I got out of half at 114.93. Was that all? Was that my whole trade? Oh, yeah, I guess it was. All right. Yeah, so I got in at 113.78. I got out at 114.93. So that was a nice trade there. Oh, that other trade is behind me. That's why. Okay. Right. So that was a nice winning trade. I took another trade here under 30, over 30 with the V1. I got in at 114.04. Went up nicely, then crashed down. So I got in at 114.04 and out at 113.74 on that one. And then first trade, yeah, this was the one I was thinking of. All right, we went under 30, over 30. I got in at 114.90. I got out of half at 115.49 with the rejection of the 50-day, and then I got out of the other half when we closed it below the previous day's low. So in at 114.90, out at 115.15, and out at 115.49. So 2 winning trades on Apple, 1 losing trade, so I will take it. Come on now. All right. Now, let's look over here. Oh my gosh. All right. Frank bought Apple at 111. It is now 113.30. Was doing really well earlier, but Frank is still up on the trade. I have sold puts on Apple down to $77.50, meaning that if the price stays above $77.50 by November 20th, I will be able to keep all the premium that I sold. I picked the $77.50 because the 200, the 250 was above. Over here on the weekly, the 50-day moving average, the third ATR channel, and over on the monthly, the 1 ATR channel and the 20-month moving average. Okay, let me get rid. Sorry, this chart is a hot mess. I realize that. All right. Now, besides Frank, Gary, Steve, Johan, and Quad did buy Apple yesterday with the 1030 EMA crossover at 116.31. Right now it's 113.52. It is down 2.5% today. So down on the trade and down on the day. All right. Lastly, I was very fortunate. I was communicating with Kamal. I usually do that when I'm taking trades. I did buy the VIX here at 24.35. The reason it caught my eye is we had this big double bottom with bullish divergence. Here's a low with deep bars. Here we have a lower low with not as deep bars. That's a double bottom with the bullish divergence. Bought it here at 24.35. I sold half at 24.42 when we rejected the 50-day moving average, and then the news came out and just went skyrocketing up for me. So I bought the first position at 24.35. I got out of half at 24.42, and I got out of the other half at 25.06. So that was, very fortunate. No magic there. That was pure luck because of the announcement. But obviously, I'm glad that I took the trade. Okay. Frank has a poem for us. All right, let's see what Frank has for us today. Don't be so quick to take on risk. You measure reward, but it's the risk you gotta afford. And markets can strike faster than a samurai sword. Boy, that's true. Today is exactly a great example of that. Don't be so quick to take risk. You measure reward, but it's the risk you gotta afford. And markets can strike faster than a samurai sword. Well, that is 100% true, and that's exactly what's happening today. You just never know when you can get newsed. You know what I mean? You just never know. Thank you so much, Frank. Always appreciate that, my friend. Gary says, great poem, Frank. David says, Cody is the only agree I can see. Cody is up 7 cents. Kamal says, hey, Greg. Hey, buddy. Good to see you. IWB is currently showing a 530 SMA crossover. Oh, right. Frank says, yes, indeed. Thank you, Kamal, for Cody. I agree. Hey, Johan. Good to see you. Cody has a 50 RSI. Today, I'm going to get out of half my position. Mount Doji says, GLL looking interesting. Quad says, good afternoon. Hey, Quad. Dan says, Greg, presenting an apple to the teacher. I was an apple this morning for a day trade. Thank you. Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Really good. Boy, what a big change in the market. Holy hamburgers. Holy hamburgers. Okay. Well, as ugly as this is going to be, I showed you mine. Now let's see yours. Chevron, Kamal did buy Chevron at 71.20. It was up nicely today. It is down now, but he's still up on the trade. Amazon, Glenn has Amazon. He bought, I'm not sure where Glenn bought. I think he bought down here the same day I did. Whew, I'm glad I got out of those puts that I sold on Amazon yesterday. Still plenty of protection, but in hindsight, almost down 3% today. So, but if Glenn is still in this position, he's still in the money nicely on the position. Alibaba is green. Way to go, Johan. Johan bought at 276.70. It is at 293.64, up 1.86% today. That's huge. Cody, Frank, Yas, Kamal, David, Johan, and Quad bought Cody at 287. It is now 306. It is up 2% on the day, up about 6.21%. Did reject the 50 RSI today, by the way. DDM. All right, so this is Steve. Steve bought DDM with the 1050 EMA crossover. He bought it at 45.88. It is down 2.51% today, but he's still up on the trade. So that's good. That's definitely good. MA. Steve bought MA with the 1030 EMA cross. He bought it at 338.64. It is now 338.58, so it's down 1.36%, and it looks like he's just about break even on the trade, which is unfortunate because it was up so nice earlier. WM, Evan bought WM at 114.03. It is 113.13, down 0.97% today. So down on the day, down on the trade. CRM, who is our CRM? Brian's our CRM. He bought it at 251.20. It is now 251.43. So it is slightly down on the day, and he is slightly up on the trade. Shopify, Kamal's had a really nice trade on Shopify here. He bought it at 960 even. Was up beautifully earlier. It is down 1.74% today, but he's still nicely up on the trade. So way to go, Kamal. Fast. Kamal and Evan bought Fast back on the 2nd at 35.06. Has moved up nicely. It was up beautifully earlier in the day, but we had that announcement. It is down 2.52%, but the more important part is it's still up on the trade. QLD. Steve bought oh, okay. Yeah, Steve bought this with the 1030 EMA cross. He bought it at 92.90. It is currently down 3%, down 2.82 per $2.82, down 3%. He bought it at 92.90 and it's at 90.15. So it was up earlier until we had this announcement. So down on the day, down on the trade, but off the bottom, if we're looking for a silver lining, GDXJ, Yas bought GDXJ, which is the junior gold miners. He bought it here at 58.35. It is currently 55.18, down 2.47%. So down on the day, down on the trade. Netflix, Brian bought Netflix at $500.40. It is 508.78. It's down 2.28%, but he is slightly still up on the trade. So that's good. Caterpillar was up nicely for Brian. He bought it at 149 even. It's still at 152.10. It's down today, but still up on the trade. Alibaba, we already talked about Alibaba. We already talked about Chevron, didn't we? Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. I have some duplicates in here. OII. Gary bought OII at $3.65. It was up nicely earlier, but it is down now. It looks like he's back to break even. AMD, Gary and Brian bought AMD back here at 81.78. It is now 81.90, 85 essentially. So a little bit down on the day, 1.3%, but they both are still up on the trade. Intel was up beautifully for Gary, but it's pretty strong. It's only down 2 cents. Gary did sell puts, the 45.40 put spread. So as long as Intel stays above $45 by November 20th, he'll be able to keep the premium. So that's looking pretty promising. PayPal. Brian bought PayPal at 183.40. It is now 192.39. It is down on the day, but he is up on the trade still. CMG. Johan, way to go. Johan bought CMG at 12.55 with this V1 here. It is at 12.68.46. It is up still, 1.23% today, and he is up on the trade. LVGO, Frank bought LVGO at 132.50. The next day he sold half with a slight profit, kept the other half. This is down 2%, but still net positive on the trade. And lastly, Google. Okay, David bought Google at 1421.86. It is 1458.40 still. He's still up on the trade, but it is down on the day. And Gary sold in November 20 $1,200 puts, meaning that he'll keep the premium as long as it stays over $1,200. It's 1458 here. So sorry, I know I kind of had to go through those quickly. Boy, a lot of stuff going on. Let me quickly take a look and see. My Delta Airlines, it is still holding the 50. It is holding those moving averages and holding the halfway. As long as it does that, I'm going to keep it. Goldman Sachs went back positive, so that's good. 520 cross is still in place. Did bounce off the 200, is holding the 50, so that's positive. I'll keep it. NBIX, I am going to get rid of NBIX today. Especially in this kind of market, and I'll just go ahead and take a small loss on that. Qs, I did sell half. The 520 is still in place, so I will keep those. Sprouts Fresh Market, I will be getting out of Sprouts Fresh Market with the close under the 200-day. Of course, the SPY, I'll be buying that at the close. Overnight SPY trade. Chewy, I'm going to get rid of Chewy. Walmart, have to watch that. Wow, what a day. What a day, everybody. Glenn says, Trump action canceling negotiations with Democrats will be negative for the market, still sitting on the sidelines. Okay. Well, that certainly makes sense, Glenn. That certainly makes sense. Thanks for that. Yatin Nadu, how you doing? Thanks for coming. Long Tesla, 385. Netflix, long Tesla, 385. Netflix, long 478. All right. Well, let's see how you're doing then. Long Tesla at 385 and it's at 415, so that's looking good. Yatin. And Netflix long from 479 and it's at 509. Good. Hey Yatin, at the end of the day, if you could remind me of that again, I can get you out on the board. Gary says out of OII at break even. Okay, remind me again please, Gary, at the end. Okay. Quad says, thank goodness for Cody. Cody is the champion of all champions. And clearly it is showing us that today. Up 3%. Unbelievable. I'm so glad you all are in that. I really, really am. Okay. Well, listen, before we start going down through my watch list, before we look at the results of the scanner, before I look for my end of day trade, looking for the three requirements, always remember, right? Confluence combination of indicators lining up ideally on multiple time frames. Requirement number 2, good risk to reward ratio. You can have a great confluence, but you may not have the proper risk to reward based upon support below you and the likely resistance above you. So 2-to-1 is my minimum. And then of course, before you take any trade, always take a few minutes, think to yourself, do I really need this trade? How much account heat do I have? How much correlation do I have, right? So, but before we do that, I just want to turn to trader psychology a little bit, good trading words of wisdom. And there's some really good Facebook, Twitter channels out there. And this is from Ian Cassell. He has a big channel on Twitter. It's at Ian Cassell on Twitter, or just look him up, Ian Cassell. This is a great channel. I went through, looked at this today after I looked at this post that he has. So if you have not subscribed to Ian Cassell, go over there, take a look. I think you'll enjoy it. But let's see what Ian says. 99.9%, that's a pretty high percentage, of successful investing is controlling your emotions when your money is on the line. You can't succeed until you can jump into the arena and tune out the crowd. Well, this is exactly what I was just talking about earlier. You know, when the market punches you in the face like it did 35 minutes ago or 40 minutes ago, It all comes down to controlling your emotions. That's why I'm very careful what I buy. I look at correlation. I don't want to get too excited. I don't want to get too depressed, because those are the areas where you start thinking with your reptilian brain, and you don't make really good decisions when you're really manic or depressive. So I construct my entire trading approach to always just keep that kind of middle of the road so I can think clearly. So when I saw this, I was like, wow, this is perfect. But so 99% of successful investing is controlling your emotions when your money is on the line. 99.9%. You can't succeed until you can jump into the arena and tune out the crowd. And you can't tune out the crowd when your emotions are heightened, either elevated or you're really low because you're losing money. So, I mention this in several different ways every single day, but please, please, please take a look at risk, position size correctly, adjust for volatility. And you're doing all that so you can control your emotions, so you can trade properly and follow your plan. So thank you, Ian Cassell. Appreciate that. And please go over to Ian Cassell's channel on Twitter and subscribe and read his stuff, because it's good. Okay. What is Apple doing? Whew. Crazy, crazy, crazy. All right. Well, I had quite a few setups to look at earlier. I guess we'll take a look and see how they look. TLT, well, I was watching TLT. I liked it a whole lot better earlier today when it was near the 30 RSI. Now it's at a 36.02. Bounce near the 200-day on this news. But do I want to buy it here? It does have a V1. It went under 30, over 30. Not sure that I do. I liked it a lot better down here when my risk to reward was better. Now it's not so good. It's off of its highs. We'll see. Let's take a look at the weekly. I like the weekly in that we have rejected the -1 ATR channel. So it's a possibility. We'll just watch it. INSG. Earlier I was thinking about INSG but I thought to myself, if it closes over the 10-day moving average, that's probably what will put me over the edge to buy this. It did go under 30, over 30, had a V2, but now it's rejected the 10, it's rejected the 5, and it's rejected the -1 ATR channel. So currently, as is, I'm a little hesitant to buy this because it's rejected the 10, the 5, and the -1 ATR channel. VIPS, under 30, over 30, rejection of the second ATR channel. Let's look at the weekly. When I was looking at these earlier, I'm not really thrilled about the weekly here. It has not rejected an ATR channel. It didn't form anything on the V1 or V2 or anything like that. So most likely I'm going to take VIPS off the board because of that. It is up today, though. That is positive. ADT looks pretty good. We went under 30, over 30. We are battling with the 10 EMA here. Let's go over on the weekly. See, the weekly here is much better because it's still in the value zone. And it is forming a V2 on the weekly, which I like. So that's, when I talk about multiple time frames, that's what I'm talking about. On the weekly, we have a V2. It's in the value zone still. On the daily, and under 30, over 30. So that one's not bad. Okay, I'm going to take INSG off there. CME was doing pretty well earlier. We have a higher low here. We have a higher low here. Earlier, we had a V2. We had gone above the 50-day moving average, and we had gone above the 50 RSI. We're still currently above the 50 RSI, but this V2 has untriggered. So, and the other thing here is every single time we've got to this 100-day moving average, we've rejected it, we've rejected it, we rejected it. So even if we do go up, very likely you have this confluence of the 1 ATR channel and the 100-day moving average. So with that being said, I think I'm going to just pass on CME. BKNG is booking, is holding. MACD crossover is positive today. This is a $1,700 stock, but I'm not really thrilled about how this looks here, so no. JCOM, boy, we had a nice trade on JCOM. I don't know if anybody remembers. I can't remember. It was way back, but it was a great trade. Earlier it was a V1. I still don't think I would have taken this because even though it was a V1, the risk to reward was not as good. So I think I'm just going to have to take JCOM off the board. Excuse me. Excuse me. Wow. Well, this stock, AYX, has done really nicely today, up 28.9%. But of course, excuse me, I apologize. My gosh. Losing my voice. Too big of a gap, too high above the 6 ATR channel. This very well might just continue up, but as is, no. Anthem thoroughly rejected that 3rd ATR channel with the big bearish reversal bar, so no. AMAT, Applied Materials, rejected the 50 above it, rejected the 2nd ATR channel or 50-day moving average, so no. No on MU. AMC Networks did trigger a V2 earlier in the day, but now it is untriggered, so no. And VIRT, earlier was a higher low V1, but I'd feel better if we were back in the value zone, so no. So the two that I'm kind of looking at here is bonds. The thing I'm concerned about bonds, I mean, we did go under 30 over 30, and we did go under the -3rd over the -3rd, and we did form a V1. I mean, technically this is probably the best looking one. Especially on the weekly here, we rejected that -1 ATR channel, and of course, people are flocking to bonds here with this volatility, so that this is a bit of a hedge trade as well. So I definitely will consider that. And ADT, I think all in all, I'm gonna stick with TLT because you do have a little bit of a hedge trade there. Because as you can see, when this came out, it rallied strong on the news, so it is a bit of a hedge trade, and it's a legitimate trade. The risk to reward's not so good, but this might continue back up to here. So let me take a look. Delta Airlines, the more important thing is what to do with current positions than adding new positions. It's off of its bottom. It's holding the 50% of this bar. It's still holding the 20 and the 10. It's still holding the 50. So that being said, I'm inclined to keep this. Goldman Sachs is holding the 200. The 520 crossover is still in place. It's still holding the 50 RSI. I'm inclined to keep this. NBI, I am going to get out of NBI for sure. Qs look like they're making a low on the day. I'll probably hold the Qs because the 520 crossover is still in place. Sprouts Fresh Market. I'll tell you what do we have? 10 minutes. I'm going to start to clean some things up here. So I am going to get out of Sprouts. SPY, of course, I'm buying SPY at the end of the day. My 1050 crossover is still in place, so I will just stick with it. Chewy, I'm going to get out of Chewy for sure. I'm going to get out of Chewy and just take the loss there. I think I'm going to get out of Walmart also. Yeah, I think I'm going to get out of Walmart. And VIX, boy. VIX breaking out to a new high here on the day. Wow. Wow, 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 everybody. Steve says, I'm exiting all of my positions. Okay. Good thinking, Steve. Frank says, October is like doing business in a bad neighborhood. Kamal says, UUP. That's the dollar. I don't see a clear signal here, Kamal. Really, I don't see a V1. I really don't see anything here. Eric Kim says, Glenn, for how long you think? Boy, am I glad I got out of Amazon yesterday. That's all I can say. Wow. Yes, sir. All right. Amazon, Apple, are we having the 520 cross under? Not yet. 520 crossover is still in place. Now, if Delta does lose the 50 RSI, I will get out of Delta. Make sure I have all my... Okay. All right. Well. Pretty ugly. Delta, I'm going to hold. Goldman Sachs, I'm going to hold. Getting rid of NBIX, getting out of NBIX. Qs, I am going to hold them as long as the 520 crossover is there. Sprouts Fresh Market, I got out of. SPY, I hate to do it, but I am taking the overnight SPY trade. Chewy, I am getting out of. Walmart, I am also getting out of. So the only question is, am I buying TLT today? And probably the answer is to that is yes, because it's a bit of a hedge. So I'm going to go ahead and buy TLT right here, right now. And that's it. Wow, what a day. Holy camole. Eric says, Glenn, how long do you think the market will go negative? Oh, boy, if anybody knows, please let me know. Kamal says, I'm getting out of everything as well. Okay, sounds good. Please remind me at the end, Kamal. All right, I am keeping Delta Airlines unless it closes under 50 RSI today. Goldman Sachs, I am keeping. NBIX, I am out of. Q's, holding. Sprouts Fresh Market, out of. SPY, buying the close. Chewy, out of. Walmart, out of. Wow, how does everybody feel about today? My goodness, holy smokes, man. Oh, Cody, come on, stay green for us now. Wow, this is just carnage. I'm going to have to watch this Delta Airlines. If it closes under 50, I will get out. Well, it looks like we're rallying a little bit into the day. VIX has come off a bit. Man, thank goodness for that VIX trade. That's all I can say. Holy hamburgers, man. All right, we have about 4 minutes. Yes says, how do I feel? Gasping for air, but still can smile. Well, that's what's important. That's what's important. Steve says the rally was news driven based upon second stimulus deal, and Trump pulled the rug out from under that. Yeah. That is true. Alibaba's still positive. Cody's still positive. All right. So I did buy TLT. That's the one thing I did buy today. With the under 30, over 30, the V1, the rejection of the negative third ATR channel, and a little bit of a hedge. You know, you may have people going back in for some bonds after this news. We'll see. My stop will be if I get a close below the halfway of the washout bar. Today's the washout bar, and we lose the third ATR channel. Two minutes. Well, that was just rude. Unbelievable. All right, we have about 45 seconds. Ten seconds. Well, there we go. That's it. That's it. So let's take a look, see where I bought everything. I bought SPY at 334.93, and I bought TLT at 160.75. So, well, I'll tell you what, let's do this. Before we get to that, let me just quickly just put in my little daytime message and just remind everybody that I do teach private lessons in the evening time via Skype. I love to trade. I love to teach. I've had really good success with my clients. I have been trading over 24 years. I have studied one-on-one with some real great mentors and teachers and masters. Steve Burns, Dr. Alexander Elder, Carrie Lavorne, Larry Williams. The course that I teach, I incorporate everything that I've learned from these four gentlemen, and that's what I teach in my course. The course is 5 sessions. Each session is 3 hours for a total of 15 hours. I think it's a really good course. It is $1,000, but I think it's well worth the money. I think it's worth a lot more than that, frankly. So if you are interested in working with me one-on-one and taking this long-form course, please email me. You can email me. The email's in the description of this video. You can also send me a message on Twitter. And if you do email me, I will reply and say, how's it going? Thanks for saying hi. Let's set up a Skype call. The Skype call is free. There's no sales pressure. I will not even ask you if you want to take the course. I just want to get to know you a little bit better, learn more about your trading, your trading challenges, your experience, and then it's a good time for you to ask me about any questions you have about the course. All right, and when we're done, I'll say goodbye. Nice talking to you. Think it over, and if you want to take the course, you can message me back. And then if you like today's podcast, I would appreciate it if you could hit the thumbs up button. It really does help the channel, helps Google know or YouTube know that there's some valuable content in this channel. So if you did like it today or you liked it in the past, if you could take a half a second, I would really appreciate it if you could hit that thumbs up button. Okay, so let's get rid of VIX. TLT, I bought a bit early, I can already tell. Yep, 160.75. All right. All right, my stop's going to be a close below halfway the washout bar, which will also be a close below here. SPY. I bought SPY here today at 334.93. Okay. All right. I did keep Dallas. I did keep Goldman Sachs. I am out of NBIX. I did keep the Qs, the half position that I have left. I'm out of Farmers Market with the close under the 200-day moving average. Chewy, I am out of Chewy. Walmart, I am out of Walmart. I still have the puts on Apple down to $77.50. And again, of course, I just mentioned TLT that I bought at 160.75. All right, well, this should be interesting. All right, so I'm going to start here with Steve. Steve is out of that. He's out of everything. Okay, Kamal is out of Shopify, but it was a profitable trade, so nice going, Kamal. Cody. Kamal is out of Cody. CVX, profitable trade, so good. Out of FAS, still profitable. That's the important part. Kamal. And Sprouts Fresh Market. I guess I didn't have you in that one. Frank is out of Sprouts Fresh Market. And Cody. Johan is out of Apple. Steve is out of Apple. out of Chewy, out of Walmart, out of Delta Airlines, out of CMG. All right, it looks like it was maybe a break-even trade, maybe a little bit of profit if you phased. Out of the Qs. Boy, we're doing a whole cleanup here today, aren't we? And out of Cody. Gary is out of OII. Okay, good. That looks like it was break even, or maybe a little profit if you phased. Out of AMD. Out of Walmart. And NTLT. Okay. Evan is out of FAS. All right. That takes care of that. And out of WM. Kamal says, Greg, did you keep GS and Delta Airlines? Yes, I did. I did. Tracy says, I wonder if Trump's oxygen level is too low from leaving the hospital beds. Joanne says, what a day. Man, I'd say. Steve says, photo finish on the IWB 530 SMA crossover. It lost in the last seconds of trading. Steve's in all cash. All right, so since we're on Steve, let's go over to QLD. Out of QLD for Steve. DDM. Steve is also out of DDM. Oh wait, I gotta do this over here. All right, so we've got, well, that was still a positive trade, Steve, so that's good. Yas is out of JDXJ. What did gold do today based upon that nonsense? Oof. Did not go up. Okay. Johan says, Trump is so good at shocking with the market with news. Wouldn't be surprised if he changes his mind the next day. That certainly could be possible. Never know. Yas is out of Sprouts, so everybody's out of Sprouts. And Cody. Dan says, sold SPY this morning, thankful for the small profit. I agree. Wasn't anything to write home to about, but thankfully sold it to the open. Frank says, just heard Eddie Van Halen is dead. Oh my gosh. Wow, that's a shock. You know how big Eddie Van Halen was in my teenage years? Me growing up with music. Unbelievable. Eddie Van Halen is dead. Wow. Well, the music industry lost quite a guitarist. Man, sorry to hear that. Kamal says, I'm joining Steve in all cash. Right. Oh, and Steve's out of Goldman Sachs. Okay. Not a bad idea. David's out of Google. Did I already get rid of Google? Oh, no. All right, David, got you out there. Good trade, positive. Glenn says, Kim, wait until the 200 SMA is tested on the S&P if the 32 level 100 gives way. So we're at 33.63. Yeah, buying close to the 200-day. That's always a pretty decent risk to reward ratio if you buy the SPY near the 200. Eddie passed away due to a battle with throat cancer. Oh man. Man, he was a huge part of my adolescence and teenage years. Wow. Man. That's sad to hear. Darn it. Just think about all that music, all those Van Halen songs. I was right in the midst of high school when Van Halen was at the height of their powers. Wow, wow, wow. So I still have Gary here in Delta with me. I think I'm the sole survivor in Goldman Sachs. NBIX. Yes, do you still have NBIX? I know Kamal's out. I have Yas here though, but I'm not sure if you still have it or not. I am out. I still have Yas and Quad in Chewy. I still have Brian M in Walmart. And I still have Frank Quad and Gary M in Apple. Is this all correct? Wow, what a day. Man alive, what a day. I think I have everybody out of everything. I still have Brian. I haven't, let's see. Yeah, I haven't seen Brian for a while, so I think what I'm going to do is we're just going to clean that one up for Brian. And then Caterpillar. And if he still has it, he'll have to forgive me. And Netflix. And PayPal, I believe Brian had, yeah. Frank says, I hesitate to go all cash because things are so fickle. Yeah, I agree. And kind of my same thinking, Frank. That's why I kind of split the difference and got rid of a bunch of stuff, but kept the ones that charts were still, hanging there. Like, I mean, Delta doesn't look good, there's no doubt, but it is still holding the halfway. It is still holding the 50. Goldman Sachs, down a little bit, but not too bad. Did bounce off the 200. Of course, entered the new TLT trade and then just the normal regular SPY trade. Gary says, mine is correct. Still holding Apple and DAL. Thanks, Greg. Have a great rest of your day. You are welcome, Gary. Hope you're doing well, my friend. What's going on in the after hours? Apple is down. SPY is up. TLT is up. Delta Airlines down a few cents. Goldman Sachs is up 41 cents, so that's good. Q's down 15 cents. What's Mr. VIX doing? VIX is down a little bit. Man, I'll tell you what, I'm really glad I had that trade and it's on the VIX today, and it's a perfect example of why, I got out of half my, I bought it here. I got out of half my position here, but boy, am I glad that I held that second half, because I didn't even know it was happening. Before I knew it, that went up 2.62% in 20 minutes. So anyway, it's nice to have something. VIX looks pretty good today too, actually. Yeah, we'll see. So I'm doing an interview today on a podcast this evening with a guy, futures trader in California. He was an officer in the Marines, and his YouTube channel kind of concentrates on teaching trading and investing to military, but he's at ES Invests on YouTube. ES Invests on YouTube, in case you want to check that out. But I'll post the video when we're done with the interview. Okay, well, geez, look, this is real trading. These things happen, and if you can take anything positive away from this, I think what you want to take away is that these things do happen, and that you always want to, like I mention every day, how many positions do you have? How large are your position sizes? How correlated they are? And when things are just going up and they're butterflies, rainbows, and unicorns and Skittles, maybe that point doesn't sink in, but a day like today, it does. It should anyway. Wow. All right. Well, I think that's it. I'm going to go for a hike. It's a beautiful day, and things could have been worse for sure. So let's try to learn from these days and keep in mind correlation, position size, account heat, right? Because these things can happen at any minute or any second, just as they did today. So if you could go out and try to do something nice for somebody today, that would be wonderful. Just a smile or a wave or a hello. Just do one nice, kind gesture for everybody. If everybody did that every day, it would make the world a whole lot better place. And if you could also do something kind for an animal each day, I promise you they will appreciate it, and it will be good for you, and it will certainly be good for them. So 2 nice things, one for a human, one for an animal. And have a good rest of your day. Be good, be safe, and we shall see what happens tomorrow. Could be a wild one, but thanks a lot for coming, everybody. Hey, thanks, Miko. Thanks, Kamal. And have a good rest of your day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. U.S. government required disclaimer. Stock, options, futures, and forex trading is not appropriate for everyone. While there is a potential for large rewards, there is also a substantial risk of loss associated with trading. The material in this video or live broadcast is not geared towards any particular individual or to any particular financial situation, and is not intended to meet the particular investment objectives of any viewer. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Any and all information contained in, implied, or referenced by this video or live broadcast is not to be construed as investment advice, and no representation is made that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast is an investment or financial advisor or is registered or authorized to give any financial advice. We are publishers and educators only. Therefore, the various producers of this video or live broadcast will not accept liability for any loss or damage of any kind which may arise either directly or indirectly out of the use of any of this material, including any loss of profit. No representation is made that any account or investment will or is likely to achieve the profit or losses demonstrated. We recommend consultation with a licensed and qualified professional before making any investment decision. This video or live broadcast is not to be construed as an offer to buy or sell any security, financial instrument, or financial product of any kind. Notice is hereby given that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast or their clients may have an interest in any security, financial instrument, or financial product mentioned or referenced. Any simulated or hypothetical performance result depicted does not represent actual trading and therefore may under or overcompensate for the impact of various market factors such as lack of liquidity. Thank you.